Greg. I just wanted to let you know that they've already started on the project that we're going to support. I had an email from Adra, Thailand, just a few days ago, and they said that since it's summertime there, school ends at the end of March, they wanted to get started tearing down the old temporary dining hall and starting a new one. So just want you to know that they're underway, and they'll be happy to receive our reimbursement once the quarter's over. But I told them they probably won't see any money from our Sabbath school until July at the earliest. I was going to tell you a story this morning about how the work began in this district where the school now exists. But then when I woke up this morning, I had a change of mind, and I decided to tell you another story about how the work began in that district and how God has had his eye on that area for quite a few years. But I'm going to tell you a different story instead. I hope you enjoy it. I wrote this story a few years ago. Somebody asked me to write it, and I'm actually a better writer than I am a speaker, so I think I'll read it to you. Bear with me. Pastor Robin Bwint set out, blew out the candle, and wearily dropped onto the mat beside his wife Kelly and his 6 sleeping daughters. He had contacted everyone in the Karen village to find an elephant to carry their equipment back home the next day. But no elephants were available. Moreover, none of the villagers were willing to serve as porters. He reflected on these problems and the events that had brought them to this village as he waited for sleep to take over. With his family, his assistant Goldstone, and a couple of other new converts, Robin had set out to visit several unentered villages in the district and to introduce himself and the family to the villages there. Arriving at a village in the afternoon, they would first find a home that would be willing to let them stay for the night. Then, after preparing for the evening's program, they would take a casual walk through the village and invite the villagers to join them that evening at a meeting. The program always started off with Goldstone and Robin's 6 girls teaching new songs to the children. That was followed with teaching from the picture roll and a slide presentation. After the meeting, Nurse Kelly sometimes treated the sick while Robin and Goldstone chatted around the fire with the men until eventually everyone drowsily dispersed for bed. Where they were well received, they might even stay an additional night or two and hold more meetings. Finally, when it was time to move on, Robin would arrange to hire an elephant to carry the equipment and his younger daughters to the next Karen village. 2 weeks passed quickly, and the team visited several new villages. Although it was a lot of fun, they were looking forward to returning home again. But how were they ever going to make it back without an elephant? A 3,000-foot ridge stood between them and home. Climbing it empty-handed was never easy, but now without an elephant, they would have to carry everything themselves. The next morning, Robin tried to find an elephant or porters once again, but he found that villagers were strangely indifferent. There was nothing left to do but to divide up the equipment and start out walking. So, shouldering the small gasoline generator, Goldstone led the way. The others followed single file, each carrying a guitar, a picture roll, or a slide projector, or some other item. At a fork in the trail, Goldstone hesitated until Robin could catch up. One path followed a stream which gradually rose in the direction of the ridge. The other road, a path turned away from the stream and climbed steeply up the hillside. To everyone's disappointment, Robin said to take the steeper trail. Robin had been this way once before in the rainy season, and he had taken the steep trail in order to avoid the stream which was swollen by the rains. So this time he decided it was better to take the steeper but familiar trail rather than an apparently easier but untried route. With frequent rests mixed with grumbling from the younger ones, the group finally dragged up to the top of the ridge. Refreshed by the ridgetop breeze that cooled their hot, sticky skin, and thankful that the rest of the way was was downhill, the weary team mustered enough energy to reach home before evening. Several months later, Robin met a Kren man in the district town market. The man asked Robin if he remembered him. Immediately, Robin recognized that the man was from the last village on their visitation tour the previous rainy season. Immediately, Robin recognized that the man was from the last village, and the man gladly accepted Robin's invitation to spend the night in his home. Over supper, they reminisced about their trip to the visitors' village and how they had hiked back without the aid of an elephant or porters. Suddenly, the man leaned forward and lowered his voice. "Do you know why nobody would help you?" he asked. "Because we knew that a gang of robbers was planning to ambush you." When the villagers had watched Robin's group leave them that morning, the man said, they were sure that some of them would never reach home that night. None of the villagers were brave enough to help carry things for Robin either, lest they also might not return home. Afraid that the gang might take revenge if they warned Robin, the villagers had kept silent. The man went on to tell how the notorious gang of opium addicts and killers had waited for them all that day beside a bend in the stream. They hadn't expected that Robin would follow the steeper trail. As Robin and Kelly and their girls met in their usual worship circle before going to bed, they sang with greater devotion than ever, and they prayed with renewed thankfulness. They were thankful first that God had spared their lives as they had passed through the lonely mountain country. But they were also thankful that the Kren villagers recognized that the God who Robin's team had taught them about was the one who had delivered them. Isaiah 2 verse 3 says, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths." So this is the children that attend the school there today come from some of these same villages where Robin helped pioneer the work back in the early 1980s. And thank you again for the help that you're giving to help these children get an education and be able to know more about God and be able to help their families also to understand. Thank you.
Amen.